All right, we are joined now again by my colleague over at The Intercept, Ken Klippenstein. Ken, thanks for being here today.
Good to be with you guys.
So you got a big story today, and we can put this element up. This is his scoop over at The Intercept. Walk us through what you found.
So in November, there was a document produced by the U.S. Air Force's Middle East Combatant Command, and what it was essentially was a deployment order for intelligence officers to be sent to Israel and to help with the provision of intelligence to the Israelis. Now, I interviewed someone who was the exact same type of intelligence officer that they are sending to Israel, and he said this has to be about targeting, providing satellite intelligence to the Israelis, who have very good granular satellite information, but no one can hold a candle to the kind of satellite intelligence that the U.S. government has for kind of big picture stuff that can help inform their picture of the battlefield in Gaza. Now, why is this a problem? The Biden administration never disclosed this. And if you look at what the Biden administration has said publicly about support for Israel, they're in a very awkward position where they have to signal, we love the Israelis, we support them entirely in this conflict, but they don't want to say how. And experts that we interviewed said that the reason for that is because it opens up the U.S. government to not just political liability, but legal exposure as well. So, I've reported on this with The Intercept in the past. The specific weapon systems we provided are not publicly disclosed, unlike the war in Ukraine, where the administration is very proud.
They'll tell you down to the bullets what we're sending.
Literally, yeah. You can go online and find it right now. They don't do that for the Israelis. They don't talk about the quantities of weapons. White House spokesperson John Kirby has said in the past, the reason for all of this is operational security. But again, compare this to the Ukrainians. Where's the operational security with that? Nobody cared. Everyone disclosed it. They were fine. It didn't hurt the Ukrainians to do so. So there's really this double standard between those two conflicts, and it's quite telling when you look at the administration's posture between the two.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the scale of this operation as you've reported it? What exactly, how big is this?
The specific intelligence team that they sent is known for having a light footprint. The idea being that it's not going to create bureaucratic waves, not going to leak. When I interviewed on the record in the story someone who'd served in one of these units, and he described having provided intelligence to the Iraqis. I think it was as the war became quite unpopular in 2007, 2008, around that time. And the idea is that these teams are so small and are so agile that it's not going to create the kinds of discord within the agencies that sending a larger team might. But what's critical about all this is that when you look at the war in Gaza, it's an unusual war. The vast majority of it is being fought long distance with artillery, air power, and that's exactly the kind of things that satellite intelligence of the sort that these Air Force intelligence officers would specialize in providing the Israelis are gonna be able to give them.
Now, it certainly doesn't look like there's been a whole lot of precision targeting, and we keep seeing stories about 2,000-pound dumb bombs and other dumb bombs getting dropped on Gaza. Is it possible that the U.S. sent these units over there, and the IDF told them, "Pound sand, we're good. We don't actually need your help"? Like, can we definitively link them here, or do we have circumstantial evidence that they were ordered to head over there, and you would just assume that if you have this capacity at your disposal as the IDF, that you would take advantage of it?
Well, these intelligence teams are kind of bilateral in nature, so they provide intelligence, but they're also getting intelligence too, and that's how they worked with regards to Iraq. How much we know about what the Israelis accepted. I mean, the admin has been very open about that. Yes, we are providing intelligence, but they've been very careful to say, but it's only about hostage rescue. And so that's where this story moves the needle away from hostage rescue toward, when you're talking targeting, that's a very different kind of operation. That's something the administration has never acknowledged. So certainly the Israelis are accepting some form of help in terms of the hostage response. There was a crash, I think, of an Osprey in
off the coast of Turkey or something?
Yeah, that's right. And that revealed that we had a SEAL team in country working on the hostage rescue response. So there's a big kind of secret squirrel presence within country that we only have some hints of. And in another case, the White House posted a picture where they forgot to redact the faces of the JSOC operators. Yeah. So now we know JSOC is there too. So certainly there's a footprint and document. The story is based on a FOIA document. These kind of provide us some some glimpse into what exactly is going on, because again, the administration is not being forthcoming about it.
Yeah, and the other question I have is if you could talk a little bit more about the legal liabilities. We did learn, I mean, unsurprisingly, something about this in Ukraine as well. Like 6 months into the war, something that we had a similar kind of footprint of people, light footprint of people in Kyiv. So the legal liability is there, but then there's also the idea of the political liability. If somebody is killed in action, that creates, if an American and a member of the American military, American intelligence community is harmed, that can also completely change the dynamic of a hot conflict like this.
Yeah, the administration's kind of boxed itself in, because from the beginning, Biden has said we do not have boots on the ground.
Right,
And he's tried to adhere to that, but the problem is intelligence, since it doesn't operate under the same legal classification as does traditional boots on the ground. You can technically accurately say that intelligence is not. It operates under a different title authority than.
Because they could. They're not operating in Gaza. Like could this even be happening from the United States?
We know that they are. The Air Force is conducting drones in Gaza. You're right that they're not. Or as far as we know, they're not on the ground. I mean, JSOC and some of these special operations units.
Oh, right. I was
I'm
asking like.
Oh, right. No, definitely we have a footprint in Gaza. And what's interesting about that, that drone presence that probably also is working with the Air Force, that is the first time the U.S. military has ever operated in Gaza. So this is a huge sea change from past conduct.
And the units themselves, are they working both in the United States and over in, do they have to travel to Israel to do this coordination?
Yep, it was literally a travel order describing where the lodgings are going to be. I think it was in Tel Aviv. So they're physically in Israel. In addition to that, one very telling part of the FOIA document was do not wear your uniform on the plane or in civilian. Like,
what if you want to board first, though? I mean, come on.
It kind of gives away your cover.
Go ahead. So they said don't wear your uniform on your way over to Tel Aviv.
Yeah,
because you're sitting in the airport and your flight is bound for Tel Aviv, and you look over and you see a bunch of active duty, military U.S. military personnel, and be like,
it's reflective of how it's a very subtle operation, and it's so ironic because they have to go out and say, I'm overflowing with love for Israel and we support them and everything, and it's like, but we can't say anything about how, Yeah.
Fascinating stuff.
Thank you.
All right. Good reporting. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you, Ken.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, if you liked that video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to Breaking Points.
If you want to see the rest of Counterpoints, go to breakingpoints.com to become a premium member and get the full uncut show every morning in your inbox and on Spotify.
Help us build independent news and get the full show every morning at breakingpoints.com.